The tech giant Google has just released their new flagship coming in at the end of 2018, the Google Pixel 3 and its larger counterpart, the Google Pixel 3 XL. This device is sporting a similar design to the previous iteration, the Google Pixel 2, with some slight hardware tweaks and the addition of a notch on the XL version, which is causing a lot of controversy in the Android community, and Apple fans are just loving it. However, with a $150 price jump from the previous iteration, the Google Pixel 2, the question that comes up is whether this device is worth your hard-earned dollar. How's it going, guys? Hitting up with the fourth here, back in another video. Welcome to the channel. And today I'm going to be diving into the Google Pixel 3, and we're going to decide whether or not this device is right for you. First off, I have to admit that from a hardware standpoint, this phone is very well built. You're looking at Corning Gorilla Glass 5 on the front and a special soft touch Corning Gorilla Glass 5 on the back as well. Going to the back, we have that Google G logo at the bottom, and up top we have a single unit 12 megapixel f1.8 aperture camera capable of shooting up to 4K video at 30 frames per second. Going to the front, we have Corning Gorilla Glass on top of a 2160 by 1080 display on the Pixel and a 2960 by 1440 display on the Pixel XL. Both of these are near 18 by 9 aspect ratio. There's two front camera units on the Pixel. One of them is capable of 1080p video of up to 30 frames per second, and the other is a wide-angle camera lens that's capable of zooming out farther than the normal field of view to create some awesome wide-angle shots. With all of that, I didn't even mention the software. This phone is equipped with Android 9.0 Pie, the latest and best version to date. A couple of Google's main goals with this version were improvements to Google Assistant, helping the user control how much they use their device, and of course, overall performance. Also, there's an update to Google Fit, Android's proprietary fitness tracking app, and lastly, one of the most innovative improvements that I've seen in recent years, the new screen calling feature. This transliterates the speech from the other caller into words which you can read and respond to. It will also transliterate your speech and send it to them through automation. It's great for detecting whether a call is spam or an automated phone number. And if it is either of the two, you can quickly report it to Google. And if it actually is someone that you want to talk to, you can just hit that button and connect to them right away. It adds a bit of level of privacy, even better than caller ID. Now we have to address the elephant in the room per se, the main feature of the Google Pixel 3 XL, and that is the notch. The notch is only available on the XL version, and I must say it is big, like extremely big. It's most likely the largest notch that I've seen on any modern smartphone. It's definitely larger than my personal OnePlus 6, the phone that I'm using to film this video right now. It's most definitely larger than the iPhone X. Although the iPhone X is wider, it is a bit taller than the iPhone X's notch. It's just simply the largest that I've ever seen. But there's a silver lining here. The notch, at least that from what I've seen from videos, is not really that bad. I know I may be the minority with this opinion, but you actually do get some extra features with this little cutout. You get a top speaker that assists in the stereo effect without sacrificing screen size, and you get those front-facing cameras that seem to form a little face. I may be a little biased, but I like the idea of a notch in general. When the iPhone X launched late last year in 2017, and it was shown to have one, I thought it looked pretty cool. Later on, when OnePlus decided to copy, add the notch to their flagship, I was open to the idea. It wasn't as wide or as large as the iPhone X's notch, but it was still practical and fit with the rest of the design. Does that translate to the Pixel 3? Well, that's up to personal opinion, but I am sure that if you haven't liked notches since Apple pushed the envelope late last year, I'm confident that this phone will most likely not change your mind. Now this phone has many features packed in. It has one of the top rated cameras in the industry, bunch of storage options, fast specs, it has it all. But all of this does come at a cost. The price for this phone is starting at $799 for the Pixel 3 and $899 for the Pixel 3 XL. That puts it in the same market figuratively as the Note 9, S9, iPhone XS, these types of phones. Looking at this phone though, it does fit in its own way. The Samsung devices don't have notches or stock firmware, and the Pixel has that. The iPhones, of course, don't have the Android operating and ecosystem, and the Pixel has that as well. However, when you look down the spectrum at phones like the OnePlus 6 and upcoming 6T, potentially the Poco phone or the Essential phone, with these phones being priced at prices like $500, $400, $300, that's when things become a little tricky. I'll give you my perspective. As I said, I have the OnePlus 6, and I love stock firmware. I've been following Google devices since the Galaxy Nexus, and through the Galaxy line up into the 6P, and even to this Pixel line. OnePlus has always offered somewhat of the same specs as the Pixel line, even the more expensive options like the 6P for a much lower price. Specifically, the OnePlus 5, my first OnePlus purchase, and the Pixel 2 released in the same year, June and October respectively. The OnePlus 5 retailed for $539 for its most expensive and feature-packed model with 128 gigs of storage and a whopping 8 gigs of RAM. At the same time, the Pixel 2 XL retailed for $949 for the same 128 gigs of storage and only 4 gigs of RAM. Both have stock Android, both get updates at about the same time, even though the OnePlus phone may lag about a month or month and a half behind, but that's still better. That's one of the best phones in the market besides the Essential phone to do so. OnePlus offers one of the fastest charging options, Face ID scanners, and fingerprint sensors that I've seen in any phone, although there's been some speculations that security is a bit questionable. But lastly, when you throw on my personal dislike of the Pixel 2's design, that's just the final straw pull that made me want to pick the OnePlus 5 over the Pixel 2. Really, the only feature of the Pixel 2 that's better than the OnePlus 5 for sure is the camera. And as someone who doesn't really take many pictures besides filming in 4K, which is really the only feature that I personally need, it's not really a necessity for me to go for the Pixel 2 for that specific reason. But in the end, this all comes back to you for personal preference. If you're someone who takes a lot of pictures and video, the Pixel 3 has one of the best cameras in the market to date, with close seconds being the iPhone XS possibly, or the Galaxy S9 or Note 9. However, if you like stock Android or want the fastest specs, really the specs market hasn't really been improving that much recently. Every new phone basically has a Snapdragon 845 or the same Adreno GPU. So you don't have to go out and shell thousands of dollars for a very expensive phone when there's plenty of options for almost half that price. Ultimately, the Pixel 3 is a great device for what it is. I just don't see the justification for a near $1,000 price tag, especially for that 128 gig XL. As aforementioned, you do have that Gorilla Glass panel on both the front and the back. You do have that aluminum build, but I personally wouldn't compare it to something of the likes of, say, the iPhone X, for example. Also, recently, there's been reports of rubbing and abrasion on the back of the phone, which even further lessens the justification. And that just can't happen, not only from a phone of this price range, but also from a company that's well known and as respected as Google is. I feel like with a device of this quality and with all the items that come in the box, I personally would price it at more so around $600, $650, like the previous Nexus 6, more close to that range. That phone, this Nexus 6P, didn't sell nearly as many units as the Pixel 3 is expected to sell. However, I feel like if the Pixel 3 was sold at that same price range, it would be on the top of many of the market's considerations. And with that, guys, I'm going to end this video. If you enjoyed my take on the Google Pixel 3 and its value, please be sure to leave a like. I definitely appreciate it. And also subscribe for more tech content. Also, let me know in the comments if you're considering or if you will buy this phone and why. I always read my comments, so I'm curious to know as to what you guys think about this product. As for that, I'm Henry Gobble IV here, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Peace.